Welcome to another exciting edition of the Rise podcast. Today I have an amazing guest with me called Ioana. Ioana has been on a multifaceted journey from being a flight attendant to discovering her purpose and her path to go on a healing journey and consequently healing others and guiding them towards their own healing. Ioana is a hypnotherapist, a certified hypnotherapist, at the same time a human constellation expert. But I leave the rest to Ioana. Ioana, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me, Amit. It's a real pleasure to see you and to be here in your podcast.
You're welcome. As you know, Ioana, every hero has an origin story. What was the moment you decided, yep, I'm diving headfirst into the deep end of people's emotional baggage? Was it bravery, a calling, or just plain curiosity?
Well, none of that.
Okay.
It was something very natural. It came by itself. And I started many years ago when my first job was actually a business company. It was related with real estate brokerage. And I used to sell properties, apartments, lands, houses, villas, whatever. But I end up talking with the clients about their own very private topics.
Interesting, okay.
About how they feel, about how they divorce, if they don't divorce. So that was the first time when I started to think about this, because I didn't know what is going on. But I think I was a very good listener for them, and they felt to open up in front of me. So that was the first time. Then I didn't think in that time that I'm going to be a therapist or I'm going to guide people somehow to go deep into their emotions. But lately, after many years, I said, wow, I should do this. There is no other option.
It became very evident that this is what you were called to do.
Yeah, definitely. It was another moment when I heard the word hypnosis. And I read a book about that. And I said, wow, I found my path. I don't know what is this properly, but I found my path. And I started to study hypnosis first time.
Brilliant.
That was 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Nice. Well, be honest. Did you ever expect this path to be so transformative for you? And when you did, was there an aha moment, as you just mentioned, that made you feel like there's nothing else that you want to do?
Again, it was natural. It came by default. It came when I started to struggle so much with my life. I didn't know what to do because I was in the wrong path, let's say. That was the time when I was a flight attendant. And I always felt uncomfortable and tired. And I started to do my own transformational journey. Started with Reiki, with energetical therapies, classical psychotherapy. So I started to find myself in this way, more conscious, more aware. And after 12 years of being a flight attendant and going together with these two jobs as a flight attendant and hypnotherapist, I said, now it's done. Now I have to do this exclusively.
Wow. You mentioned that you used to be drained back when you weren't really doing what you were called for. And unfortunately, a lot of people live their life like that. But looking at you now, your energy feels like a mix of a nurturing guide and a Jedi master of emotions, right? So how do you maintain that balance without burning out or accidentally wielding too much power?
This is what you asked me once, how I manage the burnout. Actually, I do my passion. I never experienced burnout doing things out of passion and love. And I don't know, I don't feel tired in that moment. In the same time, I take care of my time, I take care of my body, I take care of myself the way I can. So I give myself days off. I do massage, I walk in the nature, I do this kind of things that makes me happy and relaxed. So no burnout.
So you do a good mix of focusing on yourself as well whilst you're helping others.
I do. I do. First focusing on myself. Well, it took me a lot of years to understand that and to understand how important it is to take care of myself, to be able to share what is inside of me.
They say we teach what we most need to learn. Have you ever had a moment where the work you were doing for someone else made you go, wait, am I secretly doing this for myself?
Oh, so many moments.
Yes?
So many moments, and not secretly.
Okay.
I was so aware. And every client that comes to my office and to my workshop is showing me something about myself, and I became very aware about that. And I'm really grateful for each person that I meet that is showing me something about myself.
Nice. Your methods clearly create life-changing moments for others. But of course, aside from the session where I attended was the most transformative one, what's one experience where you walked away thinking, wow, I did not see that coming?
Oh, there were many experiences like this. And every day, and every client, and every person has their unique history. And of course, I cannot contain everything, or I don't know at the beginning everything. So there were many moments, and one of that moment, it was, well, I can share. It was an experience in a workshop where a very young, beautiful woman, she opened up somehow, and the subject was losing her mom during Corona time. And that was impressing me a lot. And I didn't expect it will come up, you know? And it was a very emotional and release of grief. And that's why grief is so important. It's so important to give ourselves time to cry for our loss. It was very emotional.
Yeah. You know, this is something which is so profound. Us as human beings are meant to experience emotions, regulate those emotions, and let them pass. Unfortunately, the world we live in currently, especially the society, people are programmed to repress their emotions and live with a closed heart because that's the norm. Following your heart is something that people feel it's a fairy tale. Whilst we at Rise is, taking people on that journey of self-discovery to experiencing their true, authentic self. And as you know, when you're connecting with people, as we are at today's world, everything is very energetically aware now. People are becoming more and more aware. This is not matching my vibe. I don't think I'm allowed or I'm meant to be in this place anymore. I know that I need to be somewhere else because I feel drained, right? What's been the hardest trigger you've had to release whilst you were doing the work?
Well, as a client, you mean?
Just for yourself, because,
I was very undecided which country to live in. I love my country, but I always traveled, and I always like all the world, and every city has something beautiful, and I love all the countries, and I didn't know I couldn't decide where to live, and I end up addressing this topic in a family constellation group, and I have to decide which country shall I choose, and that was difficult to do it. It was very difficult. But after that, I could choose. I choose my country and travel again wherever I like to go.
Feel free, but
Yeah,
whilst being in your
definitely.
safe space in your body.
Feel free and also rooted in my own land, let's say, because I believe that everyone is born in a specific land, and is not out of nowhere. Is not without any reason, so it has a reason. So in this case, I accepted my roots, and I decided to stay in my country and to travel and to share my knowledge with everyone around, and it was much easier. Then it was another moment when I have to let myself to be seen by 200 people in a very big event of family constellation, and everyone was sitting on the floor, and I have to stand up and I have to talk about my pain. And that was, wow, a big release and very tough. Well, I call it tough. I call it tough, but it's not tough. It's actually the first step to get out of the comfort zone and to let myself to be seen the way I am.
Being vulnerable.
Being weak, yeah.
Being vulnerable. I think this is where people get it wrong most times, and we'll probably argue about this as we do, but vulnerability is a strength. That's how we form genuine connections. But unfortunately, programming of societal pressures, being vulnerable is, oh, that's weak. Don't be vulnerable. But then if you're not vulnerable, how can you form a genuine connection with somebody? And I think in my own personal path, if I were to put guards with people, then I'm just living a very surface level connection with them. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, and they feel, oh shit, this is too much for me. I can't take it. But then, if you're not here to experience genuine connections, why are we here? If you're not here to co-create with other people that are like-minded, why are we here? If you're meant to be selfish, then why are we a part of a society? So this is where I question everything that happens. But moving on to the next question. Let's talk yin and yang, the masculine and feminine energy. Now, I've personally experienced a lot of your clients being women, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that a lot of women right now are living in their masculine energy, programmed, forced, right? And so much so that it's almost a wounded masculine energy. It's not even healthy because it's not natural. It's not natural for them to be that way. So when you actually do the family constellation, how do you see the masculine and feminine energy showing up in people's healing journeys? And do you think one side tends to be louder than the other?
It's always one side tends to be louder or stronger than the other, or our manifestation it's stronger in masculine or in feminine way. Now, what is natural, it's natural to be feminine and masculine all the time. It's not possible to be completely balanced. I don't believe in that. And actually, the balance is to know how to use feminine energy, then masculine energy, then feminine energy in order to deal with life and in order to regulate yourself. So yes, some people, they are more masculine, even they are women, because they have to deal with their life. Especially women that they are not married or they do not have a partner, they tap into the masculine.
More.
Because they need to face, yeah, exactly. They need to drive the car. They need to face life situation that needs masculine energy. And at the beginning, the balance, it's very unbalanced actually. They go from a maximum feminine, then maximum masculine, then so on until they find the middle way. But this middle way is never middle way. It's something with 10% more masculine, 10% more feminine, and so on. Because we cannot walk on a line too long and to keep our balance, on a line. So yeah, I can see. In the same time, I take into consideration even past lives or timelines. And if there is a person that was experiencing more masculine lifetime, so they are born with a stronger masculine energy in this lifetime. And of course, they express more that masculine energy. How we balance is just to accept both of them and to use them in the good way for ourselves.
So well said. Honestly, I think people tend to feel really uncomfortable when I remember having a guest not too long ago where I said, there were two people. I said, you're the feminine and she's the masculine. And he goes, oh, I'm masculine. What do you mean? I'm like, I'm talking about the energy, which means that you're the creative person, the nurturer. She's the one that's actually striving and breaking things through. But unfortunately, like I said, the programming for a lot of people is so strong that they tend to feel discomfort in accepting their true self. Now, personally, for me also, I have experienced both extremes. Before my awakening, I was a lot in the masculine energy, buying properties, driving expensive cars, dating left, right, center, to then where Divine said, chill, relax, put me on bed, where I had to now focus on building something, create something, and that's when Rise was created. But I have no shame in embracing that feminine essence, because you need to have both. Feminine energy creates, masculine energy protects the feminine energy. So, we're obviously here to help people understand consciousness even more than we can. So let's move to the next question. I have had the privilege to attend a couple of your sessions and personally experience healing where one of your clients shared a story, and then we pick people to play a certain role. You didn't even tell me what role I was playing, and I embraced this heavy, strong, grounded person, and I didn't know who it was till the end, where I found out that I was actually playing the woman's husband. And this for me was transformative, but for a lot of people, they don't understand energy. They don't understand, they think this is woo-woo or this is taboo. But you mentioned something about past life trauma. A lot of people are carrying baggage. The profound experience that someone must have felt, oh, I couldn't believe my Uncle Bob's intentions are still haunting me. How do you help people clear that?
Well, in all this story, there is nothing magical, actually. In all this story, it's actually we connect with the family subconscious mind, let's say, with the family consciousness, with the family system, and it was demonstrated scientifically that we are all connected. So in that moment, when we open up this field and we create this space of unity, of course we can act like somebody else. It's nothing, it's nothing boo-hoo-hoo. And also, the collective subconscious mind, all of us, we know about that. All of us, we are connected to a bigger field. So in family constellation, actually, this field is taking action. Some people, they consider something unusual, something, but it's usual. Every day we do this. Every day we find ourselves talking differently or accessing a different information that we never have it in our mind, because that information stays in the collective consciousness. So that's happening also in family constellation. It's a collective subconscious mind that all of us, we are there, and all of us, we pick up an information. So that's why you pick up the information of that woman husband. Make sense?
Of course, I'm always open to knowing more, and I'm very curious about things, so I like to explore a lot. And what you say does make a lot of sense. I think on a daily basis, we experience our intuitive hits. The ego, unfortunately, suppresses that.
That's true. That's true.
And that's where I want people to open up a little more about themselves. There's nothing wrong. There's no judgment about what you experience, because regardless of where you are on your journey, where I am on my journey, we have our challenges, right? But when we judge others, aren't we really judging a part of ourselves?
Definitely we judge ourselves in each person that we see in front of us. It's like mirroring something inside of us, but we don't like to take into consideration that it's too difficult. And we prefer to put the blame on somebody else. It's much easier. In family constellation, actually, we go and we connect with what is it inside of us, with our shadow. And we start to look at this shadow with love and compassion and acceptance. And this is how family constellation works, actually, on a very important law of love, which is compassion and acceptance, which is inclusion or exclusion. So nobody can be excluded from this collective consciousness, No matter if they passed away or they didn't, everyone it's creating this wholeness. Well, and so others.
And this is another important part. We are whole and complete as individuals, but we always tend to look for someone else to complete us. Part of, again, the journey of Rise is to release what no longer serves. And releasing what no longer serves is the hardest thing for a lot of people. Now, let me ask you a question. Based on so many lives that you've transformed, who's been your major client base? Is it women? Is it men?
Uh, and women and men and even teenagers, they want to join. But actually, I do not agree if they're not at least 15 years old. Family constellation is for everyone. All of us, we have family. All of us, we have mother, father. That's why we are born. That's why we are here. So I think it's for everyone, and doesn't matter which age. I had clients that they were 70 years old, clients that they were 20 years old, so it doesn't matter. Women come more, women attend more this kind of events, but lately even men, because I think everyone is waking up nowadays. And everyone started to feel that there is something more, there is something more, and they try to understand what is it behind. And what is it behind? I like to say, it's your soul, just take it, it's there.
It's empowerment comes from embracing your soul essence, embracing the unknown. Ego likes to have a structure. I'm going to do this today, tomorrow I'm going to do this, a week from now I'm going to do this, 5 years from now I'm going to do that. How often do plans really materialize? We have to adapt. You have the mission, you have the goal. I call it like setting a destination on Google Maps, but sometimes, you take the wrong direction. But eventually you'll get to the right place. So when we stop judging and going so hard on ourselves is when, that mindset shift can help. You've been a healer for how long now?
11 years.
11 years.
I don't call myself healer. Yeah.
I'm calling you a healer.
It's too much. I'm there in that emptiness spot as much as I can, and I just guide the way it is. I just guide the field the way it is.
That's fine. I mean, you can call it whatever. It's like a lot of people call God, the universe, Allah, Bhagwan. We have so many names for God. Being a therapist is a healer. Dubai police, keeping this place safe, they're healing society. So, I mean, I have no problem or shame in calling that what it is. At the end of the day, being a guiding light for others towards finding themselves is a path of a healer. So, call yourself a therapist, call yourself a family constellation guide, whatever. At the end of the day, we are doing the work of the divine. So I appreciate you for that. But moving on to the next question. Being a woman, you've had to deal with a lot of your own emotions and shifts in your mindset to open up. Because let's be fair, women judge themselves more than the society judges them, right? So if you could gift every woman you worked with a single mindset shift, like one magical key to unlock their healing, what would it be? And no, I don't mean stop dating your ex's twin. Something that would really help them open up.
It's not only one key. There are 1,000 million keys because we are multidimensional beings. So every person has their own key. But if I have to say something to women, it's just what I experienced. Let yourself to be seen. Let yourself to light up the way you are. And that pain that we hide usually is the most important resource that we have. Behind any pain, there is love. And what we hide, actually, it's our love. That's why we are facing all that many challenges. But to turn back to family constellation, we are borrowing from our ancestors or from our parents some traumas, emotions, behavior. This is family constellation is doing. It's showing us which behavior we borrow it, which trauma we borrow it. And it was demonstrated scientifically, even in 3 generations, that we borrow these traumas or these emotions or this repetitive and automatic response to a trauma or to an emotion. So, yeah.
So well said.
I will not say any key for any woman because they have.
And at the end of the day, yes, it's multifaceted. And of course, you can't have just one simple solution. But what you shared is more than enough, I think, for a lot of women to embrace. Because the last session of yours I attended was where women were asked to lose control, which is so hard for them to do. And I know it's because of fear. They've been programmed to live in fear. They feel unsafe, not just much in the society, but within themselves. Because when you suppress, you're afraid to say what you mean. And when you are afraid to say what you mean, you hold on to it. It creates blockages. And what you do is opening people up. But having said that, your work is already changing lives. But if you could manifest one bold dream for the future of your practice, no limits, what would it look like? Maybe a global retreat in Bali, or a hypnotherapy Netflix special.
Do you want a global retreat in Bali?
I think a global retreat in Dubai would be good as well.
Usually what we want for others, we want for ourselves. I will go with a special Netflix series.
Okay.
And that makes me turn back on time when I was watching the first time Another Self, this series on Netflix. Was amazing. I didn't expect in that time actually that I'm gonna facilitate family constellation workshops. I was like, wow, nice movie, very nice movie, very nice series. But well, I didn't expect that, and I end up doing this in a few months. Naturally, easily, with no plan, because you talked before about plans and about ego. I agree with ego. I like ego. Helps us to succeed in life and helps us to reach our goals. But the way how we reach our goals, it's multiple ways.
Yes.
And well, yeah, that's the Netflix series to answer to your
So
question.
well said. Because a lot of people are afraid of their ego. They get scared of the ego once they realize, oh shit, I'm not the ego. And then they start judging the ego for what it is or silencing the ego. I'm like, why do you have to silence it? It's a child. Sit with it, nurture it, and lovingly listen to it.
So important.
To what it's saying. Because it's important for you to know. The problem happens when people think they are the ego. And that's when they exclude God out. And unfortunately, that's where majority of the people are living. But only when you said, when people are awakening to thinking, there's something more. I'm missing some element, some part. And it's right there, beneath all the gunk, all the programming, all the fears, all the doubts, all the questioning part of it. And let's move on to the next question, because this is important. And it started from me as well. Inner child healing. People have become very uncomfortable embracing their childlike innocence. They feel, if I'm doing that, I'm immature. Are you though? Because our inner child and our adult self, aren't they part of the same personality? You should never lose your curiosity that you had as a child to becoming older. But the thing is, as people go through that journey, through all the trauma, through all the setbacks, they give up on their dreams. So when people come to you, I'm sure a lot of them have gone through inner child issues.
All of us.
All of us. Right?
Not all of them, all of us.
Great. I love that you mentioned that, because that's an important part. Now, before embracing your true self, why is it important to embrace that inner child?
Wow. The approach with the inner child needs a lot of love. A lot of love. Why it's important? Because we become adult, and this inner child is screaming inside of us, and all that energy is spread around it. We are looking for attention, we become moody, we become childish in our relationships, the most important topic in the world, yeah? So yes, it's very important, and the approach should be with a lot of love, because this child usually is looking for love. And you cannot deny this part of yourself, I cannot deny this part of myself. And most of the time, people, when they come for therapy or when they come in my office, they come as a little child looking for their mom to show their wound, because mom, this super mom, can heal the wound. And then, step by step, once they embrace this child that is broken or is crying or it needs some attention or it needs some love, they start to tap into their teenagerhood stage. Then they start to tap into their mature stage of being. And then they start to have more healthy relationships. It's it's a process, it's a journey. It takes step by step, and it's very important. And this inner child is holding actually everything that is, it makes us happy, let's say. The curiosity, the creativity, the intuition, this intuition that we don't allow ourselves to follow it. The child can imagine everything, can know everything, and they believe in their imagination, and they can create something with their imagination. This is how the smartphone was created, through imagination.
Correct. But then when you look at all the smartphones today, they all look the same. That's where I say the feminine energy is completely suppressed, because back in the day, you used to have, creating so much things in the Greek side of things, pillars and amazing structures. Phones were different. Now everything is, buildings are the same now. And that's when I say, okay, the feminine energy, the creative essence needs to be unraveled again.
Well, if we go with gadget, you just show me a camera before that is something tiny, mini, is doing everything. So it's not all the same.
Well, yeah.
It's not all the same, but well, with smartphone, it's another story. I don't know. Yeah.
Now, in this journey, you've experienced a lot of people that come to you battling between societal programming and embracing their intuition. How do you help someone start trusting their gut over the conditioning that they've learned from people?
Difficult question. Difficult question. Why? Because, I always said that our intuition must be tested before. If your intuition, or you think it's your intuition and it's telling you go on the street and stay naked, so you need a little bit of mental field to interfere there and to regulate this, because it's not true. So it's very important to know how to make the difference when a thought comes from intuition, and when it's just a thought that you just catch it somehow, somewhere.
We sometimes pick thoughts from other people, by the way, because of
We do.
we connect, right? And that's where it becomes a little challenging. Now, also on my personal journey, I created Rise, right, which is the journey from being lost to finding your purpose.
Which is an amazing event.
Thank you. But the important part or element of finding your purpose is finding your true self. Because when you find your true self, that's when everything becomes clear. So what I say is, you are your purpose. And through that is when you are able to help so many other people. But people find like, oh, my purpose is out there. Or the negative thoughts, that projections that we pick up on from people. When you're speaking your truth, you're always going to get people triggered. And then they'll throw energy towards you, and then you pick that up. And people that are tapped in, that read energy, can pick up on those thoughts. Right? And that's when they say, don't believe every stupid thought that you're having.
Definitely.
The mind will always do its thing.
Don't trust your mind.
Never.
100%.
And even on my journey also, when I went through calamities after calamities, relationships breaking down, financial struggles, career downhill, health going down, I was like, oh God, what is going on? Why? And literally what was happening was I started disconnecting from anything external. My relationships didn't matter. The money in my bank account didn't matter. The properties I owned didn't matter. The cars I had didn't matter. The relationships didn't matter. That's when I realized, okay, time to go. But then there was a little voice which stopped me from committing suicide, which said, no, wait. Because when everything is crashing down, what do people think? An awakening is similar to wanting to commit suicide. And a lot of people need to realize that if no matter what happens in their life, no matter how bad things are, good times are ahead, right? You just have to ride that wave of the tough times. And I think that journey towards spirituality is that. Now, another experience I personally went through with your session is when, I'm not going to name names because of confidentiality, but there was a woman that came with that journey of having issues dealing with her husband. And towards the end of the 30-minute session, we found out that she was the issue.
Usually we are the issue. There is no outside. And it's not an issue, actually. It's something that we need to embrace, that's all. And to realize that it's me, the one who create my reality. It's me, the one who create this disharmony in myself, and it's just mirrored outside, which is very beautiful, because in this way So it's nobody else guilty. It's not me guilty. I just need to embrace this part of myself and to calm it down. And that's all.
The world is judging
We
you
like to
anyway.
blame the partner,
Yes.
We like to
Easier.
blame somebody else. No, it's not somebody else.
It's our own actions. But then coming to this one thing, because again, you said relationships are the reason why we do what we do, right? To help build relationships, healthier relationships. But how can you build healthy relationships unless you have a healthy relationship with yourself?
You build a healthy relationship with yourself,
First.
and then you start to have a healthy relationship with
others.
somebody else. In hypnotherapy, there is a sequence about creating a healthy relationship with oneself. And this is the first, let's say, session that I start in hypnotherapy with everyone that enter in my office, because it's the most important relationship that we can have. This one is creating the other relationships. And the biggest challenge in our life is the relationships, correct? And this is the way how we mirror each other. But if we like to say that everyone has a problem and I'm perfect, yes, you're perfect, but you can create troubles too.
Correct.
Correct.
I had a coach that attended Rise. They were supposed to speak. Actually, they did speak, and there was a session on trauma healing. And she goes, I have no trauma. And everyone that is aware chuckled, laughed a little bit, because how can you say you don't have something when we are actually all living with it? Self-sabotage is the biggest thing that I think, yes, it affects collectively all of us, but more so women. And unfortunately, when you look at societal programming, again, I come back to the matrix in this sense, is let's take dating apps, for example. It's not hard for a woman to find a partner to be intimate with in today's world. But because of distractions, right, what looks good, pleasing to the eye, I don't think dating apps actually are creating bonds. They do it on a purpose so that you keep coming back to find the next. What advice can you give women when they break up from a relationship? How to embrace healing first, see what they might have done wrong in that relationship also, to then have a healthy future relationship with the next partner.
Why you ask me only about women? Men are facing the same situation. And usually, because most probably the pain is too strong, we are trying to run away from that pain, trying to find somebody else to love us or to heal our pain. They are not going to find a relationship on this dating apps. They are going to find someone to heal the wound or to fulfill the emptiness. So I do not agree with with these dating apps. Doesn't mean they're not good. Doesn't mean I saw couples that they are married right now, but
right now.
I'm not the big fan of that, because it's obvious we are running for someone to look at us, to see the wound, and to heal the wound. Now,
I'll tell you exactly
choosing
why.
what they want to choose,
I'll tell you exactly why I mentioned women. There has been a study that took place that women have started to become unhappier. It's not like men became happier and women are where they are. Women have brought their happiness level to down of the men. And that's where it's a problem. When you look at society, a lot of women are being programmed at a very young age to convert to men, because that's how it's supposed to be. When actually being a man isn't easy, right? In today's society as well. We're judged by everybody.
It's not easy at all.
It's not easy at all. But again, as a man, that's our duty. Our duty is hard times make a strong man. And it's a strong man that's on his purpose that can attract a woman that is in love with his purpose, love with his heart. But again, the reason, like I said, why I bring women into this is because I feel compassion towards women, because they have been programmed to not know what they are or what they want. You know the joke, women don't know what they want. It's not that they don't know what they want. They've been programmed, they've been told what to do. And that's where the problem begins. And that's when the fight, the competition comes in, because, again, personal experience. If I've had a woman in my past that has had a bad relationship with her father, majority of the times that is removed onto me. And a lot of men experience that too. Because women feel Their job or their design is to feel. But when you stop them from feeling, what does that do? Nothing in this world would be created if not for a woman. Yet they say, what has the woman created? Right? I like to break that pattern because I have compassion for men and for women. But it's the women's voice that is not heard. And I think
It's your feminine side that was not heard
correct,
properly.
correct. And I feel like women empowerment in today's society isn't empowerment. It's really fighting, competition, anger. Look at us. See us. No, see yourself. Embrace your femininity. Know your power like you do. For example, when I experienced your session, I saw you in your feminine power. Do you know how beautiful that is to watch? It's amazing to see because there is an etheric glow about that. A woman standing in her feminine energy. Yet the society says, no, become a man, fight men, this, that. And I'm like, I stop. So this is why I say what I say, and
I consider nowadays between women and men there is something else. I think the men they are started to pay a very masculine karma that was created in the past. And unfortunately, in many societies, men lost the power, they became more feminine, and women started to become the fighter and the warrior and so on. I think it's a matter of balancing negative energy that was created in the past. Because unfortunately, many women in the past, they were slavered, let's say. I think this is the situation nowadays, and this trying to balancing somehow.
we can use the word they were prostituted. It's fine because that still happens.
I will not call it like this, but I think they were used. They were not properly seen in their power. And the woman, the mom is creating life. Yes. Mom put herself in the service of life, giving you the chance to experience this life on planet Earth. And I consider there are so many souls that wants to experience the life on planet Earth. So somehow they were not very appreciated in the past, I believe so.
Yes.
Now it's balancing somehow. Well, I'm not okay with that. Because as you like this feminine energy to be released, I like this masculine energy to be released. I like to see a real masculine in front of my eyes and to see that balance. But nowadays it started to.
It's starting to come to, I think this is exactly how it is supposed to be by design. We judge too much, but some people have had to pay a hard price for that in that regard. Now, like you, I have a gift where I can see what people are trying to say behind the mask. But I know that telling them that is going to create them to feel a little. Let's just say that if you had a cut on your hand, and I say, oh, Wana, you have a cut. You'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll work on it. But if I say there is an emotional wound, what do you mean there's an emotional wound? How do you know? Look at yourself.
Oh, Amit, it's so difficult actually, and it's so painful to let our other people to see our pain. We ourselves, we run away from that pain. And I like to give this example. If this bubble it's a problem, there are people that like to go around. There are people that like to say doesn't exist, and they looking on the other side, but go around. There are people that they try to take this bubble and carry with them, and they call it karma. And there are other people that they start to analyze this bubble in 1,000 million pieces from 1,000 million aspects. They create a workshop or a therapy method. This is the psychotherapist.
Coming out, yes.
And there are people that they sit with the bubble, they look at it, they ask for help if they need. And they solve the problem. No, yeah.
I think change can only happen once you're ready for change. And, this is just what this journey is, of embracing change to becoming the highest version of ourselves that lives in a very 5D state where nothing really affects you because you're on a path anyway. You stop judging things, you stop micromanaging, you stop over controlling situations, you see the ego for what it is. And that's when you say, okay, now I know I'm whole. I am the awareness, not the ego. I'm not the positive and the negative thoughts. That's the mind. And this is another thing that I help people break out of, is that we've been programmed to believe that we have a soul, but we are the soul. We are awareness. We have a mind, have a body. Not we are the mind and we have a soul and a body. And that transition will happen when people are ready for it, right? As you've been through your journey, I'm sure you've had challenges that you faced where you were triggered by situations. You might have run away from your own wounds, but then eventually you stop running.
I'm still triggered. I'm still facing situation, sometimes even in the therapy with my clients. We're coaching, how to call it, but yeah, it's okay to be triggered, and it's okay to face challenges. It's okay to evolve somehow, and without these triggers and challenges, we cannot.
How will you know that something needs to be worked on if you're not triggered, right? I think this entire journey is all about learning, growing, embracing.
Well, I will say don't learn anything. You have already. Learning means taking the information that they were already exposed by others. This is knowledge. Yeah, knowledge, I don't create the knowledge. It was created already. But I will say be the way you are. Mm-hmm. Be the way you are.
Well, let me.
Well, not kill everyone on the street. This is how you are.
Let me expand on that. What I meant was learning who you are, right? When I say I'm having this interaction with you, I'm learning about you, but at the same time, I'm learning more about myself because of how I am in this situation. Mm. Again, another important aspect is to unlearn what you're not, right? Unlearning parts of yourself that you've been holding on to for what, really? Now, I've had very strong moral scale in my life. When I knew when something was right, when it wasn't. I've seen people from a very young age judging others for the same things they do themselves. And I'm like, hold on, how about you? You just judge this person for doing that, but you're doing the same thing. So what's happening in that situation is they're creating a karmic pattern, right?
Yeah.
There's two types of paths we can follow. A karmic path, which is that path of learning. Lessons, where you're in a relationship and it's not serving you, but you keep going in those cycles. Like you said, the wound is there, but you're cycling around, right? And then there is a path that says, okay, I think I have learned what I had to from this situation. Now I'm going to move on to a peaceful side of my life. And that is where it comes down to embracing your true self, the highest version, which is released things that don't serve, integrated the masculine and feminine within ourselves, surrender to the time of the universe, not rushing things based on the ego. Like, a lot of entrepreneurs that I have helped, they are living life so fast-paced. They don't know anything anymore. And I'm like, calm down. You tried to do this, but did it go according to your time? No, it didn't. Okay, release it. Release it, and then when you release it, it comes back when it has to. But you're just carrying on with things. When you follow these three things, you embrace your true authentic self. Because that's who you are, the soul, the awareness. No blockages, no traumas, just you, authentically, the messy version, where there's no judgment. And that is what we're here to help people with. And coming down to what is it that you do, Ioana? I personally feel family constellation with a blend of hypnotherapy can help so many people find their path towards healing. And I think if only people were to embrace new things, start being a little more curious, one more time, look at that inner child and stop forcing it to be positive, right? When a child comes to you crying, are you going to say, be positive? No. You're going to be more like, tell me what's wrong. So we sit with our inner child and we say, what's wrong? Talk to me.
What makes you cry?
Yeah. And you can do that. And that's when we can open ourselves to becoming the best version of ourselves. Having said that, there is amazing things in store. You're doing some amazing work with with family constellation now in the Middle East as well. And I'm glad that you're doing so because it's part of your calling. And with Rise, what I do, I'm sure we're going to join forces very soon. I can already feel it, to help get more and more people come into this, embrace that space without judgment, and open up, cry, release, grieve.
This is the stamp of a family constellation, to
Correct.
stay in the space of non-judgment and compassion, and just to observe what was going on there. And you take the conclusion later, you know. And yes, I am so glad and I'm so happy to find people here in Middle East that they are so amazing and so open to discover themselves, to explore themselves. And I found within that heart a lot of love, a lot of love. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
That is the pathway to abundance. You've taught me a lot in today's session about yourself, about myself, and I just want to thank you for the great work that you do. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I just want to say one more time that behind any pain, there is love. That's all.
Really well said. Thank you so much for coming over, Ioana, and let's see how we do things together.
Thank you so
Take
much
care.
for inviting me.
Yes.
Thank you.